Dearest gentle viewer, can you believe that the first part of Season 3 of Bridgerton is here? Well, it is, and what a great 4 episodes it was. Focusing on several different love stories developing, this season put a deeper look on Penelope as she was caught between Colin and Lord Debling. Plus, we also saw Francesca and her desire to find somebody as a debutante. Oh, and let's not also forget the identity of Lady Whistledown is still a secret, but it looks like it could cause massive ramifications for everything that was built up in these 4 episodes when the show returns in June. So with that, let's not wait any longer and let's jump right into Season 3 of Bridgerton. Here is Bridgerton Season 3 Part 1, Ending Explained. Just to let you know, this video will contain spoilers. Penelope and Colin Bridgerton. The main focus of these 4 episodes was Penelope and Colin Bridgerton and the love that lied between them but was never properly addressed. Within the conclusion of the second season, Penelope overheard Colin saying that he'd never be in love with Penelope, which is something that deeply hurt her. This is because she had strong feelings for him, and that was something that was present in the first part of this season due to him acting rather promiscuous following him coming back home from his travels around Europe. However, Colin wanted to reconcile with her, and with Penelope looking for a match in her 3rd season, he offered to give her tips on how best to find a husband. There were moments in these episodes where it felt like the love was always going to arrive for them. For example, when Penelope read Colin's diary and knocked over the lamp, she put a bandage around his hand. Hand touches in Bridgerton are often some of the most intimate moments in the show, and yeah, I mean that. The show is obviously filled with people lying together, but the hand touches show a different side of affection. Think back to Season 2 with Anthony and Kate, and also Season 1 with Daphne. The touch of the hands often symbolise togetherness and the yearning to be with one another. So with that happening with Colin and Penelope, it always felt like it was going to develop. And the developments then continued on when Penelope and Colin shared a kiss at the end of the 2nd episode. Colin couldn't stop thinking about her and realised that he did actually have deep-rooted feelings for Penelope. Even though Penelope was seen as a bit of an outcast due to the news of Colin helping her find a man spreading like gossip, that didn't stop Lord Debling from being interested in her. So much so that Debling was on the cusp of proposing to Penelope. Colin had become jealous of Debling and Penelope's blossoming romance, and it was best symbolised with the string quartet arrangement of Jealous by Nick Jonas being played in the background as Colin looked on at Penelope and Debling dancing with one another. However, in the final episode, all of those feelings finally got to Colin, and he wanted to admit how he truly felt. When Colin spoke to his mother, she said how it was rare for lovers to be friends before they end up together, but he wanted to defy the odds and admit his true feelings for her. Penelope wanted love, and Debling didn't offer that because he didn't have room in his heart or his mind due to the work that he did taking a priority. So even though he offered stability for Penelope, it wasn't what the heart desired. So when Colin interrupted the proposal and eventually made Debling see that Penelope had feelings for Colin, tying back to her looking out the window at the Bridgerton's house, she left the ball. But with Colin stopping her cart, getting inside and admitting how he truly felt, the pair then shared a passionate moment with one another, which climaxed with Colin inviting her into his home and asking for her hand in marriage, something which was a huge shock. This is something which is going to cause the second part of the season to be massive. During the beginning of the season, Colin said that he swore to ruin the life of Lady Whistledown when he found out their true identity. But obviously, he doesn't know that the person that he's marrying is the person in question. So this is something that's most definitely going to cause a lot of problems when it's revealed, and the love between them could disintegrate very quickly. Meaning Penelope will end up right back where she started in society, and maybe even worse, because everybody will know that she's the person who writes down the nasty words. Eloise obviously knows Penelope's alias, and that's something that she most likely won't want to keep a secret from her brother either. So the next part of the season is going to be something which will most likely be filled with heartbreak between the pair, unless Colin is prepared to see through it, which I just don't think he'll be able to. There was a line at the start of the season which was, "The truth has a way of revealing its ugly head," so I'm bracing myself for an eventful part 2. Francesca Bridgerton. Another main arm of the story in this season was centered around Francesca Bridgerton and her being a debutante and looking for somebody to be with. Queen Charlotte was looking for the right pair to match up, and she found that with Francesca. She was the Queen's diamond. Queen Charlotte thought it would be right to pair her up with Lord Samadani, and whilst Francesca and the Lord were getting to know one another, it seemed as though things were blossoming between the pair. However, the introduction of Lord Kilmartin threw a spanner in the works. Francesca is a woman who does things on her own accord and knows what she wants. She feels very similar to her sister Eloise in that sense, so maybe she's had an influence on her. And with Lord Kilmartin and herself just being able to sit in silence together and appreciate the world and each other without having to utter a word, it showed that the feelings that they have for one another transcend language. In the closing moments of the season, we saw that Lord Kilmartin got the piece of music that Francesca was frustrated with in public altered to be in 3/4 and in the style that she liked. And this specific thing was a gesture that showed that he cared about her. This showed that Francesca had fallen for Lord Kilmartin, meaning that although going with the head and choosing Lord Salmadani would have been smart, the heart will more often than not win when it's honed in on and has tunnel vision on love. So that's something that I think will be getting explored more in the next part of the season. Mr. and Mrs. Mondrich. Mr. and Mrs. Mondrich had an interesting arc in this season of the show. It was more of a side arc, but one that was kind of integrated into the main story. We saw that their son inherited an estate and he became the new Baron of Kent. This meant that it threw both Mr. and Mrs. Mondrich into high society and a life and lifestyle that they never imagined that they'd have. The whole purpose of their story is to be able to see what it's like for people that have just been integrated into it and seeing how they navigate it. Mr. Mondrich loves his club, and due to the new position that he holds, it's viewed as unsavoury for a man with a title to be seen working. However, his love for his club is something that he can't just push to the side, even though they now have a ton of riches upon them. I think we're going to see them navigating the high societal life in the next part of the season, and us seeing them starting to feel the effects of people ostracizing them, as it's already started to happen with people cancelling bookings at the club. My review of the season. I thought that the first part of Season 3 was really good. I think I actually preferred it to the story that we had in Season 2 of the show. Granted, there's still a few episodes to go, but I'm quite enjoying the pacing of the season and the different arcs that we've got developing between all of the different love interests. This season doesn't seem to be as graphic or intense in terms of the bedroom scenes, which seems to be a clear difference to the previous seasons. Personally, I don't mind, as it doesn't really impact what I think of the show, but it's just something that I definitely noticed. Seeing moments like Penelope being asked to dance and then stepping up to the floor was a moment that genuinely felt like it was 3 seasons in the making, so seeing her happy was something which evoked emotion when watching it. I also thought the conversation between Eloise and Penelope was an emotional moment too. Seeing the love and care that they have for one another despite the issues that they've got and not being able to put them aside was something that just hit the heart in a different way compared to the love that we see elsewhere in the show. One thing that I love about Bridgerton is the song choices that play in the background. Despite the fact that this is set in the 1800s, we get string quartetted arrangements of modern day songs, and they just really add to the viewing experience of a scene, allowing us to feel more immersed within it, and it really captures the emotion that they want us to feel in those specific moments. I think the next part of the season is where things are really going to get lively. With the reveal of Lady Whistledown potentially being on the horizon, it's going to throw all of the foundations that were laid down to the side and open up a big hole for Penelope to fall into, because I don't see her getting a happy ending. Bridgerton loves giving us a happy ending, but I just can't see how it's going to be like that for Penelope. So all I'm going to say is bring on the next part of the season. So, there you have it. Bridgerton Season 3 Part 1 Ending Explained. If you want to see more videos where I break down the latest TV shows and movies, then click on the card in the top corner, or alternatively you can head over to my channel where you'll find them all. What did you think of Season 3 Part 1? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. As always, thanks for tuning into the video and I'll see you in the next one.